Welcome to episode 391 of Around Comics. I'm Brian Salazar. With me, as always, is Christopher Niesman and Thomas Caters. Hello, gentlemen. How are you both?
Hi. Your head is so big in the box.
I know. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not sure what happened to my camera.
Was it camera? Did it get the zoom?
Something happened.
Something happened?
Hi. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It's the up-close episode of Around Comics.
Everyone.
I got to be back here.
For some tighter cameras.
Something's going on. I got the
391 episodes. You'd figure that we could plan an episode.
No, forget it. Not a chance. Not happening.
I read comic books. I got it.
Oh God, Tom read comics, and we really did.
Tom's going to carry us because between new jobs and baseball and ice installations and life, it's going to be an all listener episode.
If they call, they might not. And then we're just like, I'll talk about Fantastic Four life story the whole time.
If I was going to read that too, and I did not read it. But if you do want to call in, we're trying now to do live call-ins. As crazy as that is, you can call in the show at 312-967-6282. So you can call in live right now if you're and you'd like to call in, because we don't have anything to talk about whatsoever. So
I have thoughts.
Oh, you have thoughts?
I have thoughts on the DH and how I think it is the.
Listen, I literally just got home 20 minutes ago from the White Sox getting blown out of the playoffs 10-1.
Yeah, that was ugly.
It was not pretty. It was fun. It was a really fun game for 3 innings. It was really fun.
And then it got out of hand.
Then it got silly. Then it was not fun. It got depressing by the end. And but it was.
Tom,
there's nothing.
I just saw it's a final.
Mm-hmm.
Final.
I'm watching it.
Defeated the Milwaukee Braves or the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4, and will advance to play a team that no one cares about. That's it. We're done. Baseball is done.
Baseball's built to break your heart,
Yeah. I felt okay going away from it. I even, on my way home, on my walk back to my car, I consoled another White Sox fan who was feeling a little down in the dumps. And I'm like, don't worry, man. They're a good young team. This is part of the process. They're just not good enough yet. They got beat by a better team.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not like they lost because they, did something stupid or they were outcoached. It was just, they were a better team. So this is part of the process. The experience is.
It's like, Freddie Freeman hit a home run off Hader. Hader's the guy you'd want to pitch to him. That happens.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? You lost. That's
sports.
Can't blame the manager.
That's what happens. Happens sometimes.
Can't blame the manager. So what do? You sign Freddie Freeman. That's what you do.
You go get him.
You need a first baseman, Tom.
Baseball, comics, jazz,
I have
America.
Pie baking. Let's talk pie baking.
Baseball, jazz, and the American comic book.
Baseball, jazz.
I do have something kind of comic related, TV related. You guys know that I love the YouTube show Hot Ones, right? The spicy hot wing interview show. It is a guilty pleasure. I love that show. This last week, John Bernthal, who most comic book fans, Bernthal, who most comic book fans know as the Punisher, among many other great roles. Really,
he was in The Walking Dead.
Shane from The Walking Dead, which he talks about a little bit.
He was in The Tick.
Was he in The Tick?
Yeah, he pretty much played the Punisher
in The Tick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I liked him as Lee Iacocca in Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, he was Lee Iacocca.
He was
very good actor.
And once you think about it, it's like, yeah, he really is a good actor. Great Hot Ones episode, and the entire time I'm thinking about how much Sal would like this interview. So you should check it out. It's a great interview, and he is a very interesting dude.
I've been told I sort of look like John Bernthal's older uncle. I kind of compare. I went into my optometrist a couple of years ago, and I was wearing a Punisher T-shirt and a sort of black army style jacket, and the girl's like, "Wow, you look like John Bernthal, and you're going to come in here and murder everyone."
I said it was John Bernthal as the guy on the ticket. It's just a guy who looks like John Bernthal. Once I said that out loud, I was like, I don't think that's true.
I went with
you got to be like me. You just got to roll with it.
No, I was like, I said that, and I'm like, is it, or was it just a guy who looked like him? And I thought, this guy looks like John Bernthal. I looked it up. It's a guy who looks like John Bernthal.
I went with it.
Correcting.
I didn't know that for sure. I'm like, I don't remember John Bernthal, but the way I pay attention on television shows, he could have absolutely been in that show, and I didn't realize it. So I went with you. I thought you were right, but that's okay. It wasn't John Bernthal.
Yeah, my self-correcting.
A guy that looks like John. It's kind of funny they got a guy that looks like John Bernthal to play the Punisher, and that's humorous.
Nice. Yeah, but check it out. You will dig it.
Good
interview.
He just did an interview. I don't know if it was in that episode, but I saw someone sent me a clip from an interview that he did where he talked very much about masculinity and sort of.
Yep, that's it.
It's
really good.
He's a really interesting dude, and I think a lot of people kind of look at him as a macho kind of guy, and that interview
amazingly well adjusted.
Yeah, he's a very very cool dude, and so I will watch that eventually. I did my own Hot Wings episode with me and my son. We didn't record it, but we did.
You just ate some hot.
I would see that. I would watch that. You and Jack asking each other questions over 10 progressively hotter hot wings.
We only had that 5. We had about 5 progressively hot sauces that we ate on wings, and he's much better at it than I am. He likes hot stuff more than I do, to be honest. He can. Hot stuff. He wants me to get him like a Carolina Reaper pepper. He wants to try eating one, and I'm like, I had a sliver of one once, and that was more than enough than I ever want to try. I can't imagine trying like a whole Carolina. It would be awful.
Yeah, mess you up bad, man.
Yeah.
Did you get to the bomb beyond insanity?
It was none of those hot wings, not the hot wings. I've almost ordered their hot sauces multiple times. Every time I watch one of their episodes, I almost go on the website and order it, but I don't end up ordering because I'm like, what am I going to eat all these hot sauces? Like, it'll take me a year to go through more than like 3. I'll have 10 hot sauces in my refrigerator for 3 years, just sitting there getting crusty.
Yeah. You need to have like a dedicated. I have a friend who collects hot sauces, and he has a little shelf of hot sauces.
Very nice.
That he's accumulated. But yeah, I mean, that's a long time. Like, what are you gonna do?
They're shelf stable. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually finished a bottle of hot sauce in my life. I'm 50 years. I don't think I've ever gone through a hot sauce.
What's your go-to hot sauce? Like your everyday hot sauce that you would have in your house?
My everyday one is probably just like a Louisiana hot sauce, like a standard. I like a Louisiana hot sauce. My son's is a Tabasco. He uses Tabasco, and he's gone through multiple bottles of Tabasco because he just puts it on everything. But then
I'm a Frank's Red Hot man.
Frank's Red Hot is excellent. Yeah, that's good stuff too.
That's my go-to, and occasionally I'll mix it up, and I'll get like the Crystal. Like hot sauce, like if I'm feeling, like I need a little change of pace. They make a really good garlic one.
Do you refrigerate
Cholula chili garlic? Fantastic.
Cholula
chili. Do I refrigerate them?
Do you refrigerate your hot sauce?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
No.
My wife refuses to allow me not to. I don't believe in refrigerating hot sauce either, but
You don't
It's
need
shelf
to.
stable.
Yeah.
Fucking vinegar.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's-
I go through mine not fairly quick, but like, I use it often in things, so like,
So
I get there.
I see that we do have some viewers chiming in on the comment section. So Sean and Joe, we have nothing to talk about this week. So feel free to call in at 1-312-967-6282. Yeah.
I read Fantastic Four Life Story.
Tell us about it.
I read the first 4 issues. I mean, I think is Life Story a thing they're doing with a bunch of characters, right? Spider-Man. I think I saw a thing with it. So Mark Russell is writing it, which is the reason why I wanted to read it, because I was just sort of like, oh, what's he? Yeah, I like his stuff, so I was sort of intrigued. I was like, oh, I'll pick some of that up. Like I'm always intrigued by the Fantastic Four. And the conceit is sort of like, it sort of laid out like a chronological story, right? So it's like the first issue is the 60s, the second issue is the 70s, the third issue is the 80s, the fourth, but it's like the Fantastic Four through that actual passage of time. Like if they really started in the 60s, like what happens to them as history moves forward. Yeah, like
getting old.
Age.
Yeah, like they get old, some of them die, like, so
Spoilers.
at first, well, I'm not going to tell you which one of them dies, but
it's Thing dies.
They all die. No,
but it was interesting was when I read the first issue, I was kind of like, it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's the 60s and there's John F. Kennedy, and like so I read the first one and was kind of like, meh, okay, I get it. I get what this is. I'm not that terribly interested. But I think as it goes along, it gets more interesting because it kind of like, I don't know, like the way he treats, the way the creative team treats the Fantastic Four, it's interesting to see them, like, what would be like the history of a superhero if one person was in charge of what they were. Of like, because in reality, hundreds of people have touched the Fantastic Four and thousands will. And like, there is no definitive history like with any of these characters. It's just like a fucking weirdo mix of whatever shit people are coming up with, right? So there's no there's continuity in the sense of like, I guess they went into space at one point, right? But like, there's no logical actual like history of it. So it's intriguing from the sense of someone being like, okay, like what's our vision for what happens to the Fantastic Four if they, like live through all this time, right? And it's really based around the idea that, Reed is obsessed with Galactus. Like he has a vision of Galactus when he goes into space, and it sort of dominates his whole life. His whole life is about like preparing Earth to deal with Galactus. And like his,
obsession
with it, right? And the strain it puts on his marriage and the way it affects the other members of the Fantastic Four. And because it's like, it's a continuous vision, it's interesting to see sort of like, oh, the Thing, would probably really legitimately kind of hate Reed Richards for a long time, right? And this book has the freedom to be like, the Thing left for 5 years and just didn't talk to any, like he didn't want to do anything with them. Like he wasn't interested in.
You turned me into a rock.
Yeah, like wasn't interested in hanging out with them, right? And they become famous because they're the first Americans in space, so they kind of get lumped together as the Fantastic Four. But it's not like a thing where like, or they're a team at first. It's just sort of like they happen to be gathered together. Reed Richards does something incredibly stupid, taking this spaceship into space, and now all of a sudden all 4 of them are now like the Fantastic Four, these incredibly famous Americans who, like occasionally get together and work together to like defeat bad guys, and sometimes they don't get along, which is true to the Fantastic Four, but in the context of a comic book, they're friends again by the end, right? Like you're always resetting it, but it's if someone's like, well, what if really that tension that makes the Fantastic Four interesting of like the Thing doesn't necessarily, like, yeah, you'd be angry at Reed Richards, like play that out.
You'd be miserable. I mean, you'd be a miserable, angry, bitter person more than likely. I mean, Ben would be a happy person.
And they do such a really interesting job as the story goes along of kind of like weaving in Doctor Doom and the Mad Thinker and the Silver Surfer and all of these things that you're used to, but sort of in a way that at least I found intriguing, as far as like it kept my interest as it went along. And I was sort of like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah. And that really is how they started. Thing. Yeah, it's how they started. And then, for us growing up, Thing especially turned into this, the Yancey Street wisecracking,
blue eyes,
everybody, everybody's buddy in, what Marvel 2-in-1. They, had his, own team up book, and he and Spider-Man were everyone's buddy in the Marvel universe, and it changed that. Yeah,
I mean, there's sometimes where it's like a little hokey. Like there's moments where it's like Invisible Woman's involved with women's rights, like there's moments maybe where it's like, okay. But then there's some really intriguing things, like the whole idea of like Reed's obsession with finding out about Galactus is actually how Galactus finds out about Earth, right? And like Reed's like need to like know this is actually the thing that tips him off, and it takes decades for Galactus to get to Earth. Right, so humanity knows that in 20 years Galactus is arriving, and like this idea that everyone's just kind of sitting there, and people are kind of like, well, yeah, we're all gonna die, like, it's inevitable. Really, it's like inevitable. Galactus is gonna destroy us, and like it's it. So what started off as kind of like I was like, okay. I actually kind of got really intrigued by the time I got to the end of the 4th issue.
It makes me think I really want to see like someone, maybe like Jeff Lemire, do a Fantastic Four analog where it's like a Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk led billionaire family goes into space and turns into these superpowered weirdos that are also just fucking billionaire weirdos,
horrible fucking people.
Did you see, not to sidetrack things, but I saw a tweet. Bezos tweeted something about like, it was sort of like the self-congratulatory thing about how, everyone thought Amazon was going to fail, and now they're the, one of the biggest companies in the world, blah, 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 blah. And then Elon Musk tweeted at him a silver medal emoji, like saying,
it thrills me when someone who could literally end world hunger spends his time rubbing another person who could end world hunger, rubbing their face in their dick. It's
what
like,
the fuck are we living through?
You fucking dick.
We're living in a very, I was gonna say the true difference is that Reed Richards is actually a genius. At least in the context of the comic. Well, it's also interesting because they kind of weave in other characters like Tony Stark. Like where does Tony Stark fit into this? Where do the other heroes fit into this world? And like, so it's done in a really interesting way. And like, there's, like when Reed Richards meets Carl Sagan, and Carl Sagan kind of like puts Reed in his place. Because Reed, like, Carl Sagan's like, oh, this is the Pioneer spacecraft we're going to send out to explore, and we have pictures of humans. And Reed is like, well, don't tell anybody we're here. The only reason humans exist is because aliens don't know that we're here yet. And, like, Carl Sagan gives him a speech about, like, your fear isn't the way we're going to survive, which is just, like, a really weird but very comics moment of, like, like
Carl
Sagan kind of putting Reed in his place about his paranoia.
That's an interesting concept, the idea of like just Reed being obsessed with Galactus. I like that take on it, though. That sounds really interesting because you could certainly see that and that could go really dark and bad. I think obsession in any sense. But yeah, that's really interesting. I like Mark Russell a lot. I think he's a really good writer. That sounds.
It's cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Sean Burris said it's interesting that the big bads in Planetary were Fantastic Four analogs. It is interesting that, I mean, I think you could do that. You could sort of invert any of that stuff, really, if you wanted to. I mean, like anyone that gets some sort of power, you could easily invert it and what they do with it and how they, go and treat the rest of humanity with it. Sort of thing where you can turn them into bad guys as much as easily as good guys, I guess.
It makes me want to go read Planetary again. I remember that, and how brilliant it was. I mean, that is one of those series that you look at and it's like, yeah, I could read that again.
Yeah, Planetary is excellent. Joe Galuzik says supposedly an advanced spacefaring group is supposed to be civilized. That's an interesting point. I've often thought that, like, we always, like, in fiction, it's always either aliens or some sort of like benign, sort of hidden thing, like UFOs and probing and that kind of stuff, where they don't show themselves, or they're this, monstrous, intergalactic colonization
conquerors.
They want to conquer Earth, but it's like, look at our own society, and if we ever actually developed,
we would be the assholes.
No, but here's the thing. We'll never do it, because in order for us to actually put the time and resources into developing like faster than light, ships or something, or the we would have to be intelligent enough to think that matters. You know what I mean? Like, we would actually have to give a shit and care about science and exploration. And so for me, like, any sort of society that's actually going to do that would have to be advanced and not like conquering unless like their planet for some reason was dying, I suppose. But I don't know. I have a different view on it. I have a more surprisingly optimistic view on if we ever see I'm going to say extraterrestrials, because Demi Lovato says we shouldn't use the term alien to describe aliens any longer because it's derogatory towards aliens.
Okay.
Demi Lovato is my queen, so I want to make sure I don't upset fake fucking creatures.
Yeah. Bunch of aliens. Bunch of aliens. That was the big thing I read. I'm reading some horror comics. Yeah.
Nice.
I've been digging out. It's Halloween, baby. Spooky time.
Ooh.
I'm going to do a Tom, the last Tom Versus I did was a Halloween issue of Freedom Fighters. And since the next one is Christmas, I'm going to do I might do like 100-page House of Mystery or something. Nice. Just as it feels weird to do like a
Christmas episode,
one before Halloween, before once we get into November.
Yeah,
I think it's safe.
Tell that to all the fucking stores that are rolling out their fucking Christmas decorations this week.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna do some Halloween. I got a couple 100-page House of Mysteries I might dig out, and it's always funny to see the creators in there throwing together like a 5-page story. It's always like,
some spooky story.
David Michelini doing some 5-page like weird story with Frank Robbins on, just like these weird ass nice combos of like dudes who were around forever by that point and dudes who have done nothing by that point, and weird combo,
I don't know who wrote it, but I've got an awesome page from Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. It's a Weird War Tales page. It's like a 4-page story. I've always wanted to buy the next 3 pages so I have the full story. Yeah, but it's about a World War II paratrooper that lands in some like Eastern Bloc country, and it turns into like a World War II vampire story. He just happens to land into a village that's been overrun by vampires.
That's what happens, man.
Yeah,
they were all over the place.
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
There's vampires everywhere in Europe.
Yeah. Just they keep getting sexier, man. These vampires.
Sparkly. Or sparkly.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any favorite horror comics off the top of your head at all? Do you have anything that you kind of go back to, or something you remember fondly as? Yeah, it's hard to like pull that kind of stuff.
I tend to go back to Swamp Thing if someone twists my arm. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing got really fucking creepy. Lock and Key, I think you would probably throw that into the horror genre.
Sure.
As far as like a modern take on horror, I really like that.
I still really like the Long Halloween, the Batman Long Halloween.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Just as
shit. I can pull that out.
Mainstream.
I got it over here somewhere.
Yeah, that is. I love Tim Sale and his work. But yeah, that one's a fun one. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, I always, it's funny. Like I've always felt like there's a part of me that should really enjoy like old creepy magazines and that kind of stuff. But then I'll inevitably pick one up somewhere along the way, like at a garage sale, I'll find one or something like that. And then I go and read it. It's like, this isn't that good. It's really not.
It's pretty to look at.
Yeah, a lot of times it's pretty to look at, but not really. Like horror's maybe kind of tough to translate or try and be effective with in comics. I don't know. To me, it's a little difficult.
It's also like, I don't know. I always like, like I said, I like pulling out those old horror comics because you'll get weird combos of like artists, and like a lot of times though, for me, those are like purely about the art, because sometimes you just get these crazy ass like art, where it's like, oh my god, sort of like unshackled from superhero world, right? Where it's like, this is the brand guidelines for what Superman looks like. This is the brand guidelines for like how Spider-Man looks, right? And you kind of unshackle people from that, and it's like the rules are kind of out the window a little bit, and it's like you can make, you got to make this fucking werewolf wearing a scarf look fucking creepy, right? And it's always like there's something about that to me that I'm always love when I get around to like my long box with wherever I got my House of Mystery comics in there. It's always like
Joe Galusic mentioned Mike and Tim Norton and Seeley's Revival, I think, was a really good modern horror comic. Cullen Bunn nails horror. He's kind of my go-to horror guy out of modern writers.
Something I just thought of. I want to go back and read. I haven't read it in a long time, but it's terrific, and I would consider it in the horror realm. Is Black Hole. I know you love that, Chris. I know Tom, you
read it every year.
That's a great.
My God, I've given that away probably 8 or 10 times to people.
Yeah, I think I see my copy from over here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great book. That's definitely one.
They did come out with an artist edition of that. If you want to see the big oversized artist edition, even though I think I've been hemming and hawing, I want to see one in person before I buy it, just because Charles Burns, his line is so clean. It's like his work is so clean. I don't know how much I'm going to pick up looking at an artist edition, right? Because it's going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be pretty.
You could like scan in the pages from the regular comic, and they're so sharp.
Yeah,
exactly. Like you could, they're pretty amazing. Did you guys ever read Crossed?
That's a fucked up book. That is a fucked up book.
It is a very...
Is that Ellis?
That's Ennis, Garth Ennis.
Oh, it's Ennis. Okay.
Yeah, Garth Ennis.
Jason Burroughs.
Yes. He did
Jason Burroughs did some really good Alan Moore. What was that publisher? They were out of downstate Illinois or mid-state Illinois.
Avatar
Yes.
Press. Yeah, yeah. Crossed is messed up. It's like I always go back to that one. We've talked about post-apocalyptic comics a lot, and that's one where it's like, not because there's a supernatural element to it, but I always feel like Crossed is a great example of what it would really be like in the sense of the people that are going to survive an apocalypse are going to be the most horrific human beings on the planet. Like, they're not going to be the nice people. Nice people are all going to die.
That's what I keep telling you, man. Watch Black Summer. That's on Netflix. That is like, if there was a zombie apocalypse, that's what it is, because the only way you're going to be able to survive is if you are a horrible person.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're chattel.
And that's like Crossed. It's like zombies, but they're not just zombies. They're also sort of, their instincts are the push to sort of the most horrific levels of humanity.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of their disease. And to me, that's just like, yeah, that's what people will become. Like, that's they won't be zombies, but they're going to be the most, evil, horrific, part of humanity. It's like, yeah, do you want to survive in that? Is that what you want to try and survive?
No, not really. Someone brought up a great one. Who is Joe? Was it Joe? 30 Days a Night. Great. Horror comic. Great. Terrific. Horror comic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good stuff.
Yeah, I even like the movie.
There's been a couple of series of that,
right?
Like, there's been a handful of 30 Days of Night, I think.
Yeah, the comics, they spawned off some. So they tried to build like a whole mythos of, the vampire history and the vampire hunters and that kind of stuff. But really, that goes back. That's early 2000s.
Sounds about right. Sounds correct. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was like Steve Niles was kind of the horror guy there for a while in comics. He did several series, but he was kind of known as, he kind of hammered out that niche as kind of like the horror comic writer. Which has he done anything recently? I feel like he probably has. He's not a guy I seek out that much anymore.
He is relatively quiet, but he has done some stuff here and there over the last few years. Not a ton that I don't think, but he has done some stuff. He's been somewhat active, but not like he once was. It's surprising, considering, like you said, he was at one point, I would consider him sort of like the comic book horror guy. You know what I mean? Like,
he was. Oh, he absolutely was.
Yeah. And I don't know if he just made enough money where he didn't, need to or want to or whatever it was, but with 30 Days a Night. But
hopefully he just bought a big house on a mountain somewhere and is living large on that 30 Days a Night money.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why his level of publishing and stuff has been pretty sparse over the last few years, but he still is occasionally doing stuff.
Maybe he's making better money doing something else.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows?
He could be writing stuff. Well,
I've read some of the Alan. Speaking of Alan Moore, you mentioned him earlier. The Necronomicon stuff that he's done, Providence, and the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Some of that, it's okay. Like, some of it's good. I think the original Providence run that he did was good, but then some of it gets really like, I don't know, just long in the tooth, like just sort of overwritten, and kind of
That's
not that entertaining.
That's the true Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's what drives
To
you.
overwrite
drives you
things.
crazy. It's anybody that writes the stories. Yeah.
They just
it's like, oh my god, Jesus Christ! Like,
it does have this effect on writers of like they want to write more about the history of it than the like some actual story. You know what I mean? Like how much there's a lot of Cthulhu stuff out there that has been written because Lovecraft sort of he wanted that. He was fine with other people writing in that world, and a lot of people have written it since then, but a lot of it is shit. Like a lot of it is not good.
Yeah. It created its own genre.
It did, yeah. There is, but a lot of it is like just overwritten, wordy, kind of gothic, Victorian-esque, sort of bleh, just really kind of drudgy, black kind of stuff. And it's like,
now, would you consider Hellboy and the BPRD horror comics, or more like supernatural adventure comics?
I would say BPRD is more horror than Hellboy. I mean, there's a lot of the Plague of Frogs run was super horror, and that one went on for a long time. And
I think there's a different tone to the BPRD stuff than the Hellboy stuff. Like the Hellboy stuff, like the way the character is, like, always deflates the horror element of it. In a way, like Hellboy himself, like the way he approaches like everything, kind of like never.
He's kind of Spider-Man. He kind of jokes his way through a fight, and
it can't ever really. It never quite feels like horror because he kind of like won't ever like behave like it is.
Right.
Whereas with the BPRD stuff, there is like that tone of like,
oh shit,
like bad stuff is around the corner, and it's like Hellboy, it's more like, I know there's bad stuff around, like it's
dragon,
like
another monster,
even though there like a lot of those elements, and you could argue that when you're talking about the Lovecraftian stuff, so I think people tend to pull perhaps the wrong influences from Lovecraft in making their fucking writing indecipherable and like needlessly complicated, instead of doing what Hellboy did, was just like take that idea, the seed of like the like old gods or whatever, and throw out all the like laborious fucking tedious writing, and just like
there is something about it though that like makes you want to explain, or almost like out like, oh, I have this tentacle monster. Well, where did it come from? Where did it? Why did?
Oh god!
In 1865, but even like Hellboy, the interesting thing with like Hellboy is he was able to really weave that stuff through the book, but it never felt
it's not tedious. It was not a tedious oh fuck, like we're about to like, even Alan Moore, great writer, falls into the trap whenever like anything Lovecraftian comes up with like, oh fuck, like, great, now we're gonna be like
there was a sandstorm, and
it's like oh my god, please no. Ancient fucking monster. Just get to the monster. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about this. You're driving me mad. This is the true.
That's the true Cthulhu call.
Yeah, it's like having to read this fucking boring ass story. Like, oh my god.
Bitch up.
It is true though. There's a lot of that. Like, well, there's a game. So there's a board game that's out there, like Mansion of Madness. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
It's awesome.
I haven't played it, but it's
expensive. Book the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
Jesus Christ!
It takes an hour to set it up, like an hour to set the fucking game up.
You're like
true
3 hours in.
experience. Just like I give up. I don't have time for this.
It just wears you down.
By like hour 4, you start to get into it.
God damn. Yeah. Just fucking get to the point. Come on. Pick up the pace.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
go.
Yeah.
Crap.
And they have expansions.
That's the true crime of Lovecraft. Everybody wants to complain about his sort of racism, and no, he's boring. He's
boring. He's such a boring writer. Holy shit! You're all taking the wrong influence. Don't write like him.
Just take the creepy shit.
And just shave away all oh my god. This is long.
I feel the same way of Hobbit stuff. Anything that is
Tolkien. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
god, another song. Another song.
I don't need to know this history of
his
fucking aunt. You're not
a Tom Bombadil fan.
No one has ever actually read the Silmarillion. They say they have, but they really
no. Stephen Colbert has. He's been quizzed on it. He's the only human being who's actually read it. I think.
I tried to read it once, and I was like, "This is both a combination of being one of the most boring history books I've ever read, combined with it's just fucking made up." So it's like not even not even like the nugget of I can learn something. It's like
you can learn Elvish.
Very boring and not real.
Here is a completely fictional universe that I'm going to bore you to death about the minutia of shit that happened 1,000 years ago.
So I'm trying to read this book. I took I took a college class on Tolkien. And I was trying to read part of it, and I was just like, "What the fuck is?" I'm cross-referencing shit because I don't understand what's happening, and I'm like, "This seems like
I gotta take notes.
Not this doesn't seem like entertainment anymore." Now I've entered into this weird space where I'm just like, "Oh my god, what is he? Which elf is he talking?" It's and shit. It's like, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
If you gotta fill out a fucking file like index cards, if you gotta have a bunch of index cards to take notes on the fucking book you're reading, there's a problem.
I mean, that book's boring.
A crime wall with the yarn,
At least when you're reading Lord of the Rings or something, and some weird ass shit like Tom Bombadil, some giant who sings songs come in, it's at least fucking weird. As opposed to a boring ass fake history of a fake, I
want more hints.
On some level, you can be we're in this dude's fucking weird ass dream that he's whatever fever dream, great war caused this guy to have. We're in the middle of it right now.
I think I remember watching a documentary or something or reading something about Tolkien. And I read The Hobbit, I read all the Lord of the Rings books, and I attempted to read the Silmarillion. But I'm watching a documentary or something about him, and they start talking. They go into depth and detail about his love of creating languages. Mm-hmm. And that was when it was just all right, I'm fucking out. This guy, nerd. I'm not going to sit and listen to this guy talking.
Nerd.
If he were alive in the 60s, he's the guy that would have learned Klingon.
He would have created. He's the guy that created Klingon. He's the fucking.
I read those books in college. Oftentimes when I had a lot more free time, so I read all those books. I enjoyed them. But yeah, the auxiliary materials. I was. This is too far for me.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah, it really is. Nobody needs that much.
I wasn't curious. I didn't know.
There's
going to be that Amazon.
Nerds.
There's going to be that Amazon Lord of the Rings show or whatever it's based on.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's those the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings movies are oftentimes on TV, or I see them and I start watching them and I'm like, which one is this?
They're all
I'm just like, because they're all so long now. It's like they were already long. They were already really long movies.
extended. It's a 3-hour movie. They're going to extend it to 4.5 hours.
Yeah, there's already like 20 minutes of people hugging at the end of the movie. Like, how much more do you like? There's
You have 7 endings. There's 7 endings to that movie. How many more?
Extended singing parts, and they're like, there's stuff we cut. There's stuff we cut that I need to get in there, or even like The Hobbit, which is like a book I read as a kid. It's like, that's good that they stretch.
Three movies.
Three movies.
All right.
3.
Oh
movies.
my god.
All right. Enough hating on Tolkien.
Listen, guys, Tolkien, Lovecraft. You're on my watch list for being
What other terrible,
boring
writers?
Boring.
Well, I
don't blame Tolkien for the movies being too long. I mean, whatever. That's
no.
Fucking yeah.
But it is just this weird thing of like, well, I even like I was trying to catch up on the What If show this week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, and even I was.
So we can actually talk about something on ACTV this week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I was listening to an interview by the actor who voices the Watcher, and he was talking about
Jeffrey Wright.
So if I knew his name,
the guy from Westworld.
Yeah. One of those guys from Westworld. But he was talking. He's like, oh, these are just these very well loved characters and stories, and the the wonderful thing is like you can ask questions and answer questions about all these characters, and I've watched What If, I'm like, yeah, but there are a bunch of questions no one fucking wants answers to. And it's like, I don't care about your fucking answers to I never asked these questions to begin with. These are not questions I give a shit about. Like, what if Thor came to Earth and partied? What if Thor what if Thor was a frat boy? That's the question you're asking, and then it's like, who fucking wants the answer to that question? And that's the
magic of the What If comic is that you can ask the fucking dumbest questions.
Yeah.
Like, what if Thor stayed a frog? Like you could do an issue about, where it's like, where it's like, it doesn't have to be of any like fucking consequence or of like any like, or it doesn't, it doesn't have to stick to any concept of like, what is an appropriate question to ask about this Marvel universe, where it's like,
yeah, it's in this weird space now though, where it's like people have put this onus on it to be like an answer for society. You know what I mean? Like Marvel is that important. Now it's like, oh well, everything that they do is now canon in the What Ifs, and so it's important. Like it's like it's not.
Well, none of it's important. It's all fucking fake. It's all it's not real people.
So Sal and I talked about this a few weeks ago on ACTV that when What If came out, it was we think cautionary tales, about be careful what you wish for, and we also think that it was probably Marvel editorial kind of flipping off fans and saying, oh, okay, this is what you wanted. This is how it turns out.
Guess what?
Smart
all your
guy.
Favorite characters fucking die. That's what happens. Everything's shocked.
This is what you want?
You're upset Jean Grey died? Well, guess what? This is what happens if she lives.
Guess what? She dies anyway. What if Jean Grey didn't become the Phoenix? Guess what? She dies.
I truly believe it was like Roy Thomas just sort of being like, after
off.
reading letter after letter of fucking fans writing in stuff, complaining, is like, okay, fine, I'm gonna give you these goddamn answers. I'm gonna give you these.
Stacy fucking lived. There you go.
Yeah, guess what? She dies.
She dies anyway.
Guess what? She becomes a bad guy and kills Peter Parker. There you go. I don't even know if that's what it is, but it's always like
right. It's always a
always
fuck
like-
you. It's
always like, yeah. Guess what?
Yeah.
She
Your
kills
way
Peter
is wrong.
Parker.
Your way is worse. Is
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
Or it was a joke. It's like, yeah, what if Thor stayed a frog? Which are, funny.
But
They're-
somebody out there wanted that. Like somebody wrote in a letter at some point to Marvel, like, what the fuck? Why can't Thor stay a frog for a while? I mean, come on. The frog community is underrepresented. We need more frogs in comics.
What if I'm just trying to think about what if Ben Grimm never became the Thing, and it's like he would get some other horrible
Disease that would
disease and
Just-
he
yeah.
dies.
Wasn't there a what if Flash Thompson became Spider-Man? That was those were always, I always liked What If because it was what if, and it was just a kind of a throwaway. But yeah, I think with this series it kind of went into trying to correct perceived slights at some point, which is a weird way to think about what if stories, right?
What if Howard the Duck joined the Avengers? What if
That
He'd
would
piss
be
everyone
amazing.
what if Captain America was never thought out?
I think
Like that.
becoming a bit. Let's see. Here's the initial series, Volume 1, that's ran from 1977 to 1984. What if Spider-Man had joined the Fantastic Four?
They'd all
That's a
die.
good one.
What if the Hulk had the brain of Bruce Banner, which
Kill everyone.
Which ended up
Kill it.
happening.
Yeah,
What if the Avengers had never been?
everyone would die.
Everyone dies.
Died.
Lord Loki
What if
rules all.
What if the invaders stayed together after World War II?
They'd kill the
Sal
Avengers.
Sal would be happy because
I
all
would be
Sal
happy.
wants is a fucking Invaders comic. That's
Give
all
me the
he fucking
Invaders.
wants.
What if Captain America had not vanished during World War II? Hitler would kill
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah,
What
they would have
if-
lost.
What if the Fantastic Four had different superpowers?
Lame.
Oh,
Yeah. What if someone besides Spider-Man had been bitten by the radioactive spider?
that's the Flash Thompson one.
3 different
That's a good one.
stories. Flash Thompson, Betty Brant, and J. Jonah Jameson. So, his son becomes Spider-Man.
Oh.
John.
His son, the astronaut.
Yeah.
The dead astronaut.
Mhm.
My
No.
dead astronaut son.
What was he? Werewolf? Moon werewolf? What does he become? Like space?
John Jameson.
Wasn't he space wolf or astral
Space-
wolf? He was like a moon wolf. He was like an astronaut wolf, wasn't he? Something like that.
Werewolf by night. As if there's any other type of werewolf.
Wayne,
than
our
nighttime ones.
Wayne Masso, our in-house research
Man-wolf?
department, man wolf.
Man wolf. All right. Instead of wolf man, he was man wolf.
Flip that
if-
shit around.
What if the world knew Daredevil was blind? They'd feel sorry for him. What if the Avengers fought evil in the 1950s? That's kind of interesting, I guess. What if Jane Foster had found the hammer of Thor? That
Which
kind of
happens.
happened. What if Rick Jones had become the Hulk?
Rick Jones.
That's a good one. That's a good what if. I remember that one.
What if
Where did
Conan-
Rick Jones go?
he's still around? He was in the latest.
Yeah.
He's in the latest run.
Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, he's a disfigured monster fused with some other dude. What if Conan the Barbarian walked the earth today? He does in the Savage Avengers. What if Sergeant Fury had fought World War II in outer space? That's a weird one.
Who wrote that?
What?
I want to know. Who wrote that one?
Let's see.
Who wrote that? Is that a
let
Don
me-
Bluth one?
Let me find out. Hold on. I'll look it up. I don't know.
Seems like someone was just like, what if Sergeant Fury fought World War II in
Space.
Let's see. Appearing in What If Sergeant Fury, blah blah. What If Volume 14, cover date April 1979, written by Gary Friedrich, Don Glut, and Roy Thomas.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Penciled by Herb Trimpe.
Herb.
Yeah.
Like Herb.
In a reality where the early production of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine designs started Earth's accelerated technological advancement, events parallel to World War II occur in outer space. Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos fight to protect Earth from the lizard men of the interplanetary Baton Empire and from Terran traders led by Admiral Baron Strucker at the Battle of Space Station Midway. Plot by Frederick, script by Glut, concept by Thomas. So there you go.
So I would love to have been in that meeting. Roy Thomas breaks in. It's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Listen, guys,
you come up with a plot. Don, you do this. It's like, yeah, that would have been amazing.
I bet they were really high, or they were tripping balls or something.
79.
Yeah, they were definitely.
Cocaine was involved.
Maybe. Issue 15. What if Nova had been 4 other people? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I don't even. Yeah. I mean, that's supposing you know who Nova is.
Richard Rider, instead of the random decision for Richard Rider to become Nova, the powers of Nova are transferred to a vengeful wife whose husband had been murdered, a kind and homeless black man in a universe with no superheroes, Peter Parker in a world where the radioactive spider that bit him had crippled him, and an unknown character with villainous personality. Wow, they were really just throwing shit at the
I'm going
wall.
to find that. I'm going to find that issue, and I'm going to read the shit out of that.
Yeah, it does sound kind of fun.
There's your next verses.
Number 16. What if Shang-Chi? How do you say? I don't know how you say it. Shang-Chi, master of Kung Fu, fought on the side of Fu Manchu instead of against him. Man, it's kind of boring. What if Ghost Rider, Spider-Woman, and Captain Marvel were villains?
It's a strange combination.
Mm-hmm.
What if Doctor Strange were a disciple of Dormammu?
Ooh. Oh, shit.
Everyone dies.
What if Spider-Man had never become a crime fighter, stayed a professional wrestler? What if the Avengers fought the Kree Skrull War without Rick Jones? He was the savior of that.
He turned the tide.
What if the Invisible Girl of the Fantastic Four had married the Submariner? What would we get them? What do you get them for a wedding present? Number 22. What if Doctor Doom had become a hero? What if the Hulk had become a barbarian? Would be kind of
He did. Yeah. Planet Hulk.
Doctor Doom already thinks he is a hero.
This is true in his mind.
All villains do.
Yeah.
What if Gwen Stacy had lived? Issue 24. 25. What if Thor and the Avengers fought the gods? Man, I don't know.
Yeah, man. What if?
Like Buddhist gods, like
Buddha.
Jesus. If they fought, what if Thor and the Avengers fought Jesus?
God is dead and Thor killed him.
What if Captain America had been elected president? President Captain America. Or President America?
President America.
President America.
Isn't all presidents America? President America?
Depends on your point of view.
27. What if Phoenix had not died?
I remember that one.
That's definitely my top 3 favorite what ifs. Did John Byrne draw that?
Oh, I don't think so.
I think he did.
No, I thought it was a John Byrne wannabe. If I remember correctly, it's not John Byrne, but it looks a lot like
John Byrne.
But I don't
I kind of want John Byrne to have drawn that.
Yeah, no, it was Jerry Bingham drew it, but it does
Jerry
look
Bingham in 14-year-old Chris's brain. You did a hell of a job, sir.
Yeah. John Byrne Jerry Bingham,
Oh,
JB.
maybe we have a conspiracy here. Could be. Maybe it was. Why? What if John Byrne drew
Was
under the
what
name of Jerry
Oh.
Bingham?
Jerry Bingham? What if Jerry Bingham wasn't real? I hope Jerry Bingham isn't listening to this and he's like, I am real. My art looked a lot like John Byrne.
God, Tom, I just like John Byrne a
John
lot.
Byrne not. Why am I?
Actually, we came along at the same time. We just drew a lot the same.
I'm a real human.
I was actually first. I drew like that, and Byrne fucking stole it from me. God damn it! That's what Jerry. 28. What if Daredevil had become an agent of Shield?
That's a good one. I remember that one. That is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great what if.
20. It had a backup story. What if the Ghost Rider had separated from Johnny Blaze? 29. What if the Avengers defeated everybody?
Wow, we're getting a little weak here, guys.
Yeah.
What if the Avengers defeated everyone?
Everyone? The world, as Norm would say, if they went to war with the world. 30. What if Spider-Man's clone had lived? Didn't that actually happen eventually? Ben Reilly? Yeah, right? Like he...
Yeah.
31. What if Wolverine had killed the Hulk?
Oh, that's a good one.
32. What if the Avengers had become pawns of Korvac? I don't know what the implications are. I don't know what...
Everyone dies.
Everyone dies. 33. What if the Dazzler had become the Herald of Galactus? Dazzler.
I remember that one. That's amazing.
Cosmic disco lights.
Yes, younger comic fans may just not realize what a big deal Dazzler was for a very small time in comics history.
We've talked about it before. There's a podcast called there's two ladies who do it that is called Is It an X-Men? Is the name.
Yeah, that's a fun show.
They do a great episode on they kind of tear apart the Dazzler graphic novel and just sort of like why does this exist?
Why does this exist?
So insane. It's pretty funny if it's a pretty good episode.
Love me some Dazzler.
There's a few more here. We might as well finish this list. Number 34. What if humor issue? So that's just sort of, it was just the funny.
Waha.
Yeah, Waha. Before Waha.
It's an early version of Waha.
Yeah. 35. What if Elektra had lived? I remember that one. Issue also includes what if Yellow Jacket had died. 36. What if the Fantastic Four had not gained their superpowers? I don't know. Then Ben Grimm would not be so grumpy. 37. What if the Thing and the Beast continued to mutate? Well, the Beast did, right? Didn't the Beast had a second mutation that turned him purple? 38. What if featuring Daredevil, set in a possible future, and Captain America? It doesn't really say. It's just 3 alternate futures, including a Vision and Scarlet Witch tale. Only one diverges from a specific point. The Captain America story. What if Sharon Carter had not died? 39. What if Thor battled Conan the Barbarian? He'd fucking destroy him. Conan the Barbarian's just a dude with a sword. Number 40. What if Doctor Strange had not become master of the mystic arts? 41. What if the Submariner had saved Atlantis from its destiny? I don't know what his destiny. What's
like going away?
Drowning.
Being destroyed.
42. What if the Invisible Girl had died in childbirth? That's a dark one. Fuck. Wow.
So it's like, yeah.
That's dark.
That's dark. That is dark.
Yeah. I didn't expect that. 43. What if Conan the Barbarian had was stranded in the 20th century? A lot of Conan the Barbarian.
Conan's getting
Like
yeah.
Conan
That's
stories.
well, 1979.
They're just
Conan is a very popular book at Marvel at that time. So yeah, sure. I mean, this is like a snapshot of Marvel in the late 70s, early 80s. A lot of Daredevil love, honestly.
I just want to go back to episode 40 or issue 42 synopsis. What if Susan Richard died in childbirth? Sue dies giving birth to Franklin, who is never.
Oh, okay. Not her birth.
Yeah,
Franklin's birth.
Yeah.
Still dark.
Reed takes his revenge on Annihilus, for delaying his return to his wife before she passed, killing himself and Annihilus in his grief. Jesus, that's some dark shit, Marvel. What the hell? Why didn't we see that in the Disney? I want to see that happen in the Disney universe. Issue 44. What if Captain America were revived today in 2000? Well, it would have been 1983. He would have hated the music. Number 45. What if the Hulk went berserk? Wasn't that kind of every issue of the Hulk? 46. What if Spider-Man's Uncle Ben had lived?
That's
and 47. What if Loki had found the hammer of Thor? So that's volume 1 of. There's like 13 volumes of What If.
Well, yeah, it does. It has
stops
been
and starts and stops and starts.
And sometimes it's like 4 issues. Sometimes.
Well, the first volume is 42. The second, then in 1988, there's a single issue. Then it runs again from 89 to 98, and that's
a long run.
Yeah, that's 70,
long run.
80, 100.
Yeah,
114 issues. The second volume.
Crazy long run. I had no idea.
Then volume 3 is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7, 8 issues. Volume 4 is only like 8, and volume 5 is like 8. Volume 6 is like 10. Yeah, the rest of them are pretty short comparison. But then volume
it's like every few years, like every 2 or 3 years, you'd see another What If. But what I always liked about it, they're all one shots. All one shots, but you need to have a little knowledge of what's going on in Marvel to really have interest in it. That's that's
not
the draw.
Exactly true. There is. I just happened. Just funny enough, as you were saying that, I ran across volume 2, issues 35, 36, 37, and 38 and 39. Looks like it's
all one big story.
It's 1 of 5, 2 of 5. Yeah, it's Timequake. So it's like an event.
That's terrible.
What if? Listen to some of the synopsis.
What if event?
Yeah, it was a 5-issue What If event. What if the Fantastic Five fought Doctor Doom and Annihilus? What if the Cosmic
Annihilation.
I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. Annihilus. Annihilus.
No, Annihilus. Stop.
You're gonna get us saying it wrong soon.
What if the Cosmic Avengers battle the Guardians of the Galaxy? What if Wolverine had been Lord of the Vampires during Inferno?
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
They get very story specific in that run.
What if Thor was a thrall of Seth? And what if the Watcher saved the universe? So those are the 5 Timequake issues. So there was an event. There was an event in What If at one point. And then there was there's been a couple of
But I always kind of looked at What Ifs as almost like an episode of The Twilight Zone. It was like
self-contained, its own
of oddity. Yeah.
I don't know that I ever got into What If that much. I like to but
yeah. I mean, I never had like a fucking complete run of What If, but that was if what it was for a lot of people, I think, was if you read that story, if you read, the Phoenix Saga, or if you read the issue of Daredevil when Elektra died, if you read that and you saw the What If, that was one that you would pick up, and if you didn't read the story that was associated with it, it's like, I don't care about Thor or whatever. You just moved on. It's great stuff.
All right, folks, last chance right here to call in live, 312-967-6282. If you don't have the opportunity to call in live, you can also call that number, 312-967-6282, and leave us a voicemail, and we'll possibly play it on the show. We did have someone call last week from Canada, but then we also had someone trying to call in that didn't get through and left a voicemail, but they just asked if we could call them back, which
we were not going to do.
No, but you're more than happy.
When Sal got to that the next day,
yeah.
You should have just called him and be like, "Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, man?
How are you doing? Yeah, hey, what's going on?" But yeah, if you want to call in, now's the time. Nobody is calling. Come on, people! Somebody call. Just call. Just if you have, we have nothing to talk about. Don't be afraid if you have nothing to say.
And yet, we've talked for a while.
We've talked for over an hour now.
I know. See, I told you we could do it.
Yeah. It's not hard for us to mumble.
Well, let's go ahead. Take care of whatever.
Whoa. We have a call.
Someone's calling us. Oh no.
This
Call
could be
from
bad.
Joe Galoo.
To accept, press 1.
Joe.
It's Joe.
Yes, it is.
Hey, what's
What's
happening,
going on,
Joe? You're live on Around Comics.
Turn it on your radio.
Yeah, turn on your YouTube channel, Joe.
Joe G here, first time, long time.
I didn't think this would actually work. I'm sorry, man.
We weren't sure. We weren't 100% sure either that it would work, but it did, evidently. So, how are you, Joe?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Can't complain.
Everybody seems happy.
It's another Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Even though all of our baseball teams are now out of the playoffs.
Baseball's
so it's
over.
Well, yeah, but it frees up your evenings now when that happens.
Nah, man, it's curling season. It's curling season now.
All of my wife's football teams are losing, so she's,
How many does she have?
2 or 3.
2 or 3. She's like Chris. She just keeps rooting for teams until she finds one that wins.
Actually, she's more like Tom in that she is a Packers fan.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the days of Bart Starr. But she liked Brett Favre and she liked Aaron Rodgers, and hey.
So they're trying.
Go Pack, go!
They're trying to rename a street here in Milwaukee downtown after Bart Starr. There's some controversy about it. So
controversy because
you
should have multiple.
I may
streets.
live behind the cheddar curtain.
I was going to say, you mean they haven't done it yet? I mean, my gosh.
Yeah,
so
right.
Joe, where are you calling from?
I actually live in West Virginia. Princeton, West Virginia. Yes, sir.
So, do you have
not Virginia, West Virginia?
Do you have a request? Are you calling?
No, you just had to call.
No, I know.
No, I did.
Now we know it works. Yeah.
Walk down memory lane in the What If comic series a lot.
Good.
Yeah, I loved it, man.
That was one of my favorites. I don't know if you remember. I typed in a while back when I started listening about that. I am actually older than all of you, so I remember all of stuff.
Well, I'm glad that we got to talk to you before you pass along.
Before you pass.
I have surgery next weekend, so don't worry about it.
Oh, jeez, Joe.
Good luck.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, But no, man. I've been reading comics since I was a kid, and a little bit people say, oh, they're DC or oh, they're Marvel. I was whatever I could get my hands on. My dad, we would go on a trip, and my dad would give us, at the time, $5 when comics were a dime. And then when they went up to 15 cents, it became like $10. And we would go on a trip. He'd say, go buy comic books. I'd pull everything off a spinner rack in a drugstore or wherever, and until I could get $5-10 worth of comics. And we took them in, and then everybody read them in the car. And I can remember doing that when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, I think Tom, Sal, and I are all kind of at the tail end of the spinner rack, convenient mart, comic books, and to that transfer into the comic shops instead of convenient marts. So
exactly.
and then probably back before you, it was more like a lot of the the pharmacies and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, drugstores, 7-Elevens, every convenience store you could see.
Yeah, I had
amazing.
Growing up, there was 2 stores next to each other. One was a drugstore, and one was a 7-Eleven, and they both had a spinner rack. And so they would carry different things sometimes. So it was kind of.
So Tom, what was 7-Eleven in Chicago? Tom, in Green Bay, what was the convenient mart that you would go to?
I didn't ever go to one.
No square feet for you. Sorry,
there was no convenience,
no quickie,
no.
There was no chain that was like dominant.
No QT or a Come and Go or something like that.
No, this is pre. I would get
Farm and
comics
Fleet.
that I would. Well, yeah, of course, but not Farm and Fleet's
Fleet
Farm. Blaine's Fleet Farm is a
Blaine.
much larger experience than a convenience mart. I mean,
so Joe, how about you? What was your convenience store or drugstore that you bought comics at?
Well, the first one was here in where my parents lived at Peterstown, West Virginia. There's just a little drugstore on Main Street, and you went in there, and for a quarter, you could get 100-page Batman comic for 1 quarter, which was my allowance for the week. If I did my chores.
Nice.
And so, yeah.
And it had those 100 pages a lot.
50, Batman in a zebra costume, Batman in a rainbow costume, Batman in a whatever costume.
Just one after the other. They got to fill those 100 pages somehow. They need content per quarter.
That's exactly right. And it was a quality workmanship when you're 8 years old.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Joe, thanks so much for calling. We really do appreciate it, and thanks for listening as always and joining us here on
appreciate it, bud.
Live shows. So we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, you're very welcome, and yeah, I understand you're trying to get rid of me now. It's okay.
No, we're trying to get rid of.
My dad was from Chicago. I know how you people are, man. Thanks a lot for doing the show. I do appreciate it, and it is entertaining.
All right, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. There we go. It worked. Look at that.
There you go.
Yeah, we weren't trying to get rid of you, Joe. It's just we need to finish up for the night because we got to go to bed. It's getting late. Yeah.
I've been at a ballpark all day, drinking beer and eating bad food.
Oh yeah, and moment of silence for the 2021 Chicago White Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Hope springs.
At least I can spend the rest of my winter watching a terrific organization like the Chicago Bears.
I thought you were going to say the Milwaukee Bucks.
No, I was not going to say the Milwaukee Bucks. No.
That'll be your boy watching them. All right. Well, hey, we want to thank all the patrons out there. If you are a patron, you get all sorts of.
I'm loyal, Chris. like our Patreon subscribers. I'm loyal to my teams, unlike you.
Fuck the Bulls.
I don't.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Alonzo Ball?
Oh, don't get me started. All right, so we have all sorts of bonus content over at Patreon. You get some Tom versus. You get Sal on the Big Geek Show. You get me and Sal and maybe Tom at some point on ACTV,
maybe
talking about the past week's TV and movie entertainment. Yeah, blogs, newsletters, all sorts of stuff. It's super easy to sign up for. Just go to patreon.com/aroundcomics.
Around.
Yeah, if you do that, we'll give you a shout out on the show. We really appreciate it. What else? Email us.
Wait. I have someone to shout out. We got a new patron this week. I have to let me see here. Raj Patel. Mr. Patel, Raj Patel, thank you so much for being a patron. We appreciate it. You signed up this week, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Raj. What else? If you want to email the show, you can do so at info@aroundcomics.com. And yeah, I think that's all the business, right?
I think so. I think that's everything.
Business now.
You can get us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook if you'd like. If you want to follow along with our book of the month, you can sign up to our Goodreads. We have a Goodreads page and a Amazon book club. You can find both of the links for those on aroundcomics.com under the
two weeks till the Geezers, right?
The Geezers Volume 1. Yep. There's links on the website if you want to purchase that or read it online as well. It's on Hoopla. You can also get it on Amazon and Comixology. So all those links are on aroundcomics.com.
There you go. All right. That's all I got. Other than that, thanks to all the folks in the comments thread. Thanks to Joe for calling in. That was super fun. And yeah, for three guys that really hadn't read much except for Tom and Fantastic Four, I think we did okay tonight.
Yeah, I think, we just got to find a list of comics to make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
We just have old comics to go through, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah. I'll try it.
Yeah.
Hopefully here I've been distracted with things, but hopefully I'll get back on track, reading stuff, watching stuff. I've already watched plenty of TV this week.
Nice.
In preparation for ACTV. So, and I know Tom has got a new Tom Versus already in the can. I just got to publish that probably tomorrow or Thursday. I think I have a Big Geek Show episode coming out sometime this week. And yeah, so there you go.
Cool. Yep. All right. That's great. We're almost done installing ice. So my life is going to get
there you
a
go.
little bit better. Freezing water. All right. We will be back with all that bonus content later this week. And then next Tuesday, back for our regular 8 p.m. Central Standard Time Around Comics episode that you're listening to right now. In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and
around comics and all over.